Awesome. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, team. Can we honor the worship team for leading us again? Can we thank you guys? Thanks, everybody. So many of these people here, they got real jobs and real lives just like all of us do on Mondays. They come straight after that to come here on a Monday and serve us. Y'all, we are so grateful for you guys. So grateful for you. Yeah, that's great. And so grateful for my brother from another mother, Keith. He's my wonder twin. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Keith is what's known as the Puerto Rican powerhouse, okay? And I'm the Scottish Sasquatch. Yeah, all right. Well, good morning, or not good morning. What day is it? Good evening. I'm still getting used to this. Good evening. My name is Trevor, and I struggle with codependency, and that shows up in my life like me trying to control people and drive them nuts by me trying to control them, and therefore I drive myself nuts. Hey there. So glad to be here with you guys. In January and in February, we're going to be talking through this idea we're talking about, the gift of desperation. We'll hit that in just a little bit. You guys have been hearing a lot of me the past couple weeks because I'm new in this space. You guys are welcoming into your recovery community. I'm learning about all of you. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you so very much. Over the next couple weeks, you heard me say this last week, and for those of you who might not have been here last week, for the next several weeks, you're going to hear a lot from me. We're going to do a testimony at the end of every month, but for just the first couple months, you're going to hear a lot from me because I want to learn you guys, and I want you guys to learn me. And after that, we're going to open it up because this isn't the Trevor show, okay? We're going to hear a lot more from other people in different voices and whatnot, but at first, you're going to hear a little bit from me, and then you'll get sick of me, and then we'll get other people, and it'll be good. Deal? Deal. All right, cool. All right, so we're in this idea called the gift of desperation, which really encapsulates the first two steps of the 12 steps. We're taking January and February to do that, of what does it mean to begin a program and to really discover and receive what's called the gift of desperation. So if you're new to the 12 steps, here's where we start with step one here. Is we're going to go ahead and put it on the screen. We're going to read this out loud all together. It says, we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, that our lives had become unmanageable. So really, the first step what's going on here is getting in touch with my own sense of being absolutely powerless. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. You got to hit rock bottom, and what Pastor Curtis told us probably a little over a month ago is beyond just hitting rock bottom, you have to become desperate, where you actually come to grips, not just with the pain of your situation, but you come to grips with your own sense of, I can't fix this on my own anymore. That's what step one is really all about. The next step, the 12 steps, is step two. We're going to read this out loud all together again. Ready, go. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And this is where in humility we realize I can't fix it myself, but there is somebody who can fix it. One of the parts of the big book has a big header on it, says there is a solution, that there is an answer to my own sense of being powerless. There's power outside of me that can help me. Now the step one and step two in AA correlates to the 8 principles and celebrate recovery. And principle 2 is this, and we introduced it a couple weeks ago, we're going to be talking about it again tonight. And principle 2 says that we eagerly believe that God exists. This is the power that is greater than ourselves. I matter to him, and he has the power. He has the power. I don't have the power. He has the power to help me recover my life. So here's really what we're getting at in the gift of desperation. Step 1 is about understanding that you're powerless. Nope, that's not it. No, guys, don't go back to step 1. Put up the word powerless, please. I think I'm skipping ahead for them. I need to buy somebody a cup of coffee to apologize. All right, so it's really understanding that we are absolutely powerless. Okay? We're powerless. We can't do it on our own. Which leads into the step that we're going to be talking about tonight, is really stepping into hope. That there's actually hope for my situation and hope for me to recover. We're talking about the hope step tonight. So let me start here. I have a confession to make. I don't willingly watch a lot of HGTV. Willingly. I watch it because I love my wife. Happy wife, happy life. Okay? I don't willingly watch a lot of it, but I end up watching a lot of it, and I have for years and years and years. My wife loves HGTV and all those home remodeling shows. How many of you are fans of those types of things? A couple of us? Okay. The most famous home remodel show ever outside of maybe like This Old House when it just used to be on PBS with eventually the cable network? What's the most famous home remodel show ever? Fixer Upper, right? It's Chip and Joanna Gaines, right? Now this is an old picture, Chip and Joanna, because they just used to have a TV show and a little remodeling business in Waco, Texas, and it got on a little show on HGTV. Well, this thing became such a huge hit years and years and years ago that it's become this cultural phenomenon. My wife and I sat, and because I love her, we watched every single episode. And then we decided to save some money to get ourselves a little bit more together, to get out of debt, to pay off some student loans, save up for a house. So we did all those things, but part of the thing that we did was we cut the cable cord. And there's a little part of me on the inside that went, yes, no more HGTV. And then those suckers put the show on Netflix for a period of time. Gosh darn, no, not yet. They put this show on Netflix for a period of time. And then we're like, oh man, I cannot get away from this. Well, this thing became so popular that they not only had, they became a magazine, and then it became books, and then it became a farm, and then it became a line every time I went to Target. And then these two are so successful, they created their own TV network of the Magnolia Network. Did y'all know that they have their own channel now? Chip's hair is just as long as Joanna's now, by the way. And so they have their own channel. All these shows are on now. Now it's all streaming because I love my wife. I pay for Discovery Plus so she can watch all of Chip and Joanna's shows. I watch Boise Boys. What are some of the other ones you really like? Out with the Old? Anyway, I don't know. Okay, anyway. So we watch all this stuff all the time. Now, here's the deal why I think, if I'm just going to put on my hat, why people like these shows so much. I think people like these shows who like change. They like these shows because they like change. There's not a single show really on these channels where somebody's house just stays the same. There might be like one, but it's not very popular, right? It's like, look, everything's perfect already, and come on in. This is not Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. It's not on this channel. You guys remember that show from the 80s? Okay, this is not that. This is all about change. This is all about transformation. That's why people like watching it, like watching the process of them do really, really cool things. One of the things that we did watch that was cool, somebody built a castle in Waco, Texas. They bought it and totally transformed it into like Joanna Land Castle. It's ridiculous, so you should watch it. Anyway, I cannot believe I'm outing myself right now on that. I know, I liked it because there was a castle in it, okay? It looked like Scotland. Anyway, so it's all about change. It's all about change. That's actually what's going on when we're here talking about recovery on Monday night. It's about change. It's about transformation. This is why we're all here, because we're looking to experience change and transformation around our hurts, around our habits, around our hang-ups. I'm here to tell you tonight, you are the fixer-upper. You are the fixer-upper. Are you saying I'm a dump? No, I'm not saying that. But you get it though, right? Like we are all here for change. We're all here to grow. We're all here to be transformed. And this is what God offers to us in recovery. Now, what's interesting about all of this is I'm going to skip around a little bit again. So whoever's doing slides, Courtney, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's go back to the two slides here where the first step is about being powerless. Can you find that? Almost there it is. So we're talking about being powerless. Okay? Now, when you come to a sense of coming to grips with how powerless you are, that can be part of a hopeless thing. It can be a hopeless thing if you just stay there. I was reading in the 12 and 12, which is part of the 12 traditions and the 12 steps. I found this quote that was really fascinating. We're going to put up that quote here. She's awesome. She's just popping all around with me. Look at this quote. That this group of people who had stepped into this experiment with these 12 steps early on in the 1930s and recovered their lives. And they talk about this, that the virtually impossible, they found that it had now become possible. So pause just for a minute. Whatever brought you in here tonight, whatever hurt, habit, or hang up. It could be a chemical dependency. It can be a compulsive behavior. It could be a wound from your past and your family of origin, whatever it is and whatever you're here for tonight. What has felt impossible for you to find healing and recovery from just might now be possible. And so we go from powerless to hope. And my job tonight is to help you step into some fresh hope. So if you're new to a recovery journey, I want to help you find hope tonight. And if you're well along in your recovery journey, I'm here to stoke the fire of your hope again. Sound good? Yeah? Great. I'm going to read you 2 verses from Scripture that correlate with these steps tonight that really unpack a lot of this. This comes from Philippians chapter 2. We're going to put this up. It's just 2 verses, verses 12 and 13. And it says this here. Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. This right here encapsulates what we're talking about in step 1, especially step 2, and especially principle 2 from CR. I'm going to unpack this for a little bit because it's a little wordy and it seems like a lot, but I'm going to help you find the most important nuggets tonight. Here's the first thing. We're going to look at this word salvation here. So if you're taking notes in the COH app, or if you're following along, however, if you're writing stuff down on your phone, you're more than welcome to do all of that. Underline that word there. Now, this isn't church on Sunday morning. Now, we are in a church, but this is not church, okay? Now, church is something that we do on Sunday morning. This is recovery. This is a totally different atmosphere for a totally different purpose. And so this seems like a super churchy word. They're talking about salvation. Ooh, I came here for recovery. I came here to work my program. What are we talking about? Well, let me help you understand this. As I was looking into the passage this week, I learned something really cool I want to share with you all. Everyone say the word sozo. Sozo. You can do better than that. Say the word sozo. Sozo. There we go. Now you're with me. This is the word that we get in English salvation from. It's sozo in Greek. That's the root word for this. Here's the definition of this word in Greek. We're going to go to the next slide here. Here's what it says. It says that word sozo means to rescue from danger and to restore to a former state of safety and well-being. Read it one more time. It's cooking with some of you. To rescue from danger and to restore to a former state of safety and well-being. Doesn't that look like recovery? Doesn't that sound like recovery? So for our purposes here tonight, when we're talking about recovery, we're going to go back to Philippians chapter 2, and instead of the word salvation, we're now going to put it like this. Continue to work out your recovery with fear and trembling. Continue to work out your recovery. Keep following with me. Here's some other interesting things. It talks about, notice how that there's 2 people working in this passage. At the bottom, God is working, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's telling us to work. So it says, continue to work out your recovery. Can we go ahead and put that up and underline work out your recovery? There we go. Continue to work out your recovery. Now, you don't work for your recovery. We just talked about, I'm powerless to recover my life. What do you mean I work for it? I'm not saying you work for it. Question, when you exercise, are you working for your body or are you working out your body? I confused everybody. All right. When I work out, I don't work out to get a body. I work out the body I've already been given. Your recovery is a gift that God is giving you. And what he's saying here is, yeah, but you got to work it out. You got a role to play in all of this. Continue to work out your recovery. Okay, great. Check out this phrase here. I normally hate this when I read it first until I learned what it meant. But anybody else struggle with this phrase here? Continue to work out your recovery with fear and trembling. Let's go ahead and underline that. Anybody else here hate that line? So in my codependency, I struggle with fear. And I struggle with fear with people who are angry with me. I got to work a program real hard to know I can't control their anger, and I'm okay if somebody else is not okay. But this reminds me of experiences I had when I was a kid with angry adults that made me tremble with fear on the inside. Anybody else have your guts shake when you're scared? So first, when you read this, go, ooh, I don't want anything to do with that. That's what I'm in recovery for. I want to get away from that. I want healing from that. I don't want to practice my recovery with that. I don't want to ever, ever, ever feel that. And I bet some of you in the room tonight have actually felt this around church and religious settings where people made you afraid and they abused truth about God to make you feel that way. Good news, this is not fear in your gut. In fact, every time this concept is talked about in Scripture, it's actually a positive thing. Let me illustrate this for you. The most prized possession I have in my house, like let's say God forbid, if my house was ever on fire, after I make sure Leah and the kids are okay, I would grab a couple things. First, my TV. No, I'm just kidding. I would try to grab a couple things if I could. One of the absolute things I would do my very best to grab, because it's irreplaceable and it's priceless, is a vase I have. And this is a very old vase. In fact, it's an antique. And it belonged to my grandma Gladys and my mom's mom. And it was an antique when she got it. So this thing is probably well over 100 years old. And let me tell you how I got it. On the day my son was born was September 2012. Leah and I were living in Lexington, Kentucky. And Cade was born on a Sunday night. And on Monday, my parents took the very first flight they could take out of Tampa to come straight to Kentucky to meet their first grandson. It was a very exciting time. My mom and dad, I remember, I'll never forget it, when they walked into the hospital room where we were with Cade, they walked in, my dad was carrying this vase, and inside the vase were 24 roses. And he put it on, a table in there, and we gave hugs and kisses and held babies, and there was tears of joy and proud of you sons, and Nana and Grandpa, come meet your first grandchild or grandson on our side. And it was just beautiful. It was a very heartfelt moment. After all the hugs and after all the tears and after all the first holds and snuggles and all those things, my dad explained this vase. He said, son, I want to tell you a story about this vase. This vase belonged to Grandma Gladys. And my Grandma Gladys died 6 weeks after my mom and dad got married. It was very quick. And it became my mom's after she passed. And my dad said, 30 years ago, when you were born, I brought this vase that belonged to your grandmother. I brought it to your mom in the hospital when you were born with 24 red roses. And we have brought this all the way from Tampa and held it on our lap, brought it through security, on a plane, off a plane, and we got fresh roses. And here I am now with the same type of roses to give to your wife on the day your son is born. And maybe one day you can give it to him. Do you think when I come to get this vase out of a cabinet in my house that I'm scrolling through Instagram? Do you think I'm drinking a soda and holding it with one hand? Do you think I'm standing on one foot on a stool? No. With other vases, maybe. This thing, I carefully, with two hands, take it down, I put it on my chest, 3 points of contact, don't fumble the football. And I carefully bring it down, and I take great care of it because I tremble on the inside at the thought of breaking it or losing it, because it's precious to me. Because it's precious to me. So let's go back to that verse. So work out your recovery with fear and trembling, because you've been given a precious gift. And if you're new on a journey here tonight, let me tell you, God is real and has come to give you a precious gift to you to restore your life. Carry it with fear and trembling and work it out with fear and with trembling. Now notice this here. Why? For, if you're ever reading the Bible and you see for like that, it's saying that what's about to come next is there for a reason. For God works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. So what he's really saying here is, you need to work out your recovery. Do it with fear and trembling because it's God who works in you. If you are a fixer-upper and you need help to restore your life, God is not the God who shows up to your house and goes, whoo-wee, this is a dump. You better do something about this. God comes with his work clothes on, God comes with the shirt that has paint all over it and holes in the armpits. God comes with his messy jeans and an apron and his tool belt and a toolbox and says, let's get to work and restore and rebuild your life. And here's the promise. There is hope for your situation, no matter what you brought in here. Because there is a God who loves you, who has shown up to help you rebuild your life. So where's the hope step? It's right here. We have a little acronym to help us out today with this. There we go. H stands for higher power. Now, in a traditional AA program, they have the God of our understanding, but here at Celebrate Recovery, we say that the God of our understanding is Jesus Christ. And we have come to believe that he has the power to restore my life. Now, we want to just say this quickly for everybody here. This comes in degrees. We're the type of church that aspires to where anybody comes in, even if you're a doubter, if you're a skeptic, if you're agnostic, even if you're an atheist and you're not sure about this whole thing, but you need to recover your life, let me tell you, how much faith, how much belief does it take in a higher power? How much belief does it actually take to recover your life? Well, Jesus said you can move a mountain if you have faith the size of a mustard seed. Do you guys know how small a mustard seed is? It's small. I have an old Bible here. This is an old friend. It's falling apart. And a lot of coffees I've had with people over the past month, getting to know a lot of you guys. Oh, not yet. Thank you. A lot of coffees I've had with you guys. I've always said, as I'm a pastor. I love the Bible, and I've always said a Bible falling apart is the sign of a life that is not. And let me tell you, there's a couple of you who I've gotten together with who showed me your big books that are totally ragged and falling apart. And a big book that is falling apart is the sign of a life that is not. Amen? Yeah. So anyway, I have this old friend of a Bible. And on the inside, a friend gave me a mustard seed one time and taped it in there to remind me of how much faith it takes to move a mountain, to do something that seems impossible in my life, that I have no hope that it could move. How much faith does it take in God to move a mountain? The size of a mustard seed. Can you guys see it from there? Can you see it? All right, so I took a picture of it. We're going to put it on the screen now. There we go. That much. Jesus is saying, if you can muster this much faith that there is a God who cares about you and has the power to recover your life, if you could stretch your faith just this much, God can move mountains in your life. So hope starts with a higher power. And then going back to change, let's go back to the acronym. You need to have an openness to change. It's not just enough to have a tiny bit of belief in a higher power. Are you ready to change? Jesus one time asked somebody who was by a pool, who was struggling, who needed healing. They weren't just by a pool lounging. They thought that getting into this pool would heal them. And Jesus went to them and said, hey, do you want to be healed? And the person came up with all the excuses of why they couldn't get into this water that they thought was magical. There's nothing magical about it at all. And Jesus said, do you want to be healed? And he just had to answer them, yes, but he didn't even understand, do I even want to get better? Do you have an openness to change? Jesus is coming here in the same way saying, hey, I have the power to help you, but do you want to get better? It's okay if you don't know how you're going to get better. It's okay if you can't even envision that you're getting better, but are you open to getting better? And if you're open, there's hope. Now, P stands for that there's power to change. This is not power on your own, but power outside of yourself that's here to help change your life. And E, if you have belief that there's a higher power, you're open to change, that there's a power outside of yourself to change, and then you can expect to change. If you go to small group tonight, which I really encourage you to do, you know how every small group ends here on Monday nights? We say this quote here. It says, it works. If you work it, keep coming back. It works if you work it, keep coming back, expect to be changed. Take a step of hope. Sound good? Great. All right, let me give you a tool and a question, and then we'll bring Christine up to walk us out here. Here's a tool. We're going to call it Flip a Chip. Now, I have my blue chip here I got for something that I'm working on that I've turned over to God. And here's how you do Flip a Chip. You could take your blue chip, carry it in your pocket, shirt pocket, your purse, however you carry stuff. And every time you feel compulsion, every time you feel a temptation towards a habit, every time you remember hurt, you flip a chip as a symbolic way of going, God, I'm turning this back over to you. I'm taking it out of my hands and I'm turning it back to you. Or you could say as a little prayer, God, I'm tempted. I need your power to help me. It's a very small, simple thing, but God shows up in big ways if you use little things like this, little physical reminders, to help you connect with a power outside of yourself. So flip a chip. And if you don't have a chip, get one in your small group tonight. Good? Good. Here's your question for your small group tonight. You want to go ahead and grab your phone. You can pull it out. Don't take a picture of anybody else, but you can take a picture of me. Here's the questions for tonight for small group. When did you first get hope for your recovery? And how is God challenging you to grow your hope even now? Those are questions we're going to talk about tonight. Let me pray. God, we thank you that you are the God of hope. And you're the God who helps us. You're the God who's come in your work clothes to help us restore our life, and it's not up to us. Would you grow our hope that you can do this in your name? Everybody said, Amen. Would you guys welcome up Christine?